Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So wonderful to be with you tonight. It's 7 o'clock, it's Wednesday, and it means it's the MAP show. And I was just watching that little introduction, and it spoke about be inspired. And I was really thrilled to see what happened last week on our 76th show when the challenge was put out there. Can you go 7 days without complaining? And I've received some wonderful messages from people who accepted the challenge. And I'd love to hear from others to see what impact it had in your life. Was it inspiring? I've no doubt that tonight we're going to be inspired. We've got Glen talking to us, and his topic is entitled, Why Not? So give me a great pleasure to welcome Glen McQuirk and Why Not?
This is Wednesday night and it's map show time, and of course we are ready to win the soccer. And if you're part of the teams in Africa, then maybe you will recognize the outfit that I'm wearing tonight, and it's a special gift from one of our trainers in Cameroon. So thank you, Patrick. I'm going to be supporting Cameroon this week, and let's see what they can do in the Soccer World Cup. But of course, we're not here to talk about soccer, and I'm hoping that you have some clearly defined goals for your life. I was thinking of the different kinds of knots that my father had, and he used to always have a statement. I feel like I'm like Colton tonight, my father said. And he used to say, if not, why not? If not, why not? And that's my question to you this evening. Why not think big? I mean, if you're going to think at all, think big. And thinking big isn't maybe thinking twice as big as what you've thought before, or 4 times as much as you've thought before. Think beyond your wildest imagination. If you're going to take the time to dream, why not dream big? I mean, there's no limit to the size of your dream. Our imagination is designed to connect with the impossible. In fact, to not connect only with the impossible, but to make the possible a reality, to make the impossible possible. That's what is exciting about the abilities that we have. So if you're going to think big. If you're going to dream big. If you're going to have a goal, have a big goal. If you're going to do anything in life, make it big. I was saying earlier, Peter and I were having a chat, and there was the realization to me that the curtain falls at some point in our life. Just like you and I did not choose to be here, there's a time when we are recalled and we have no choice over the matter. I was just thinking, one of our trainers notified me at about 9 a.m. this morning to say my mother-in-law passed away. And, there's no knowing when your last breath comes. And what's interesting for me when I use that word last breath, often we say something like this: the person took their last breath. Well, I think we don't take our last breath, we release our final breath. And the question is, how different is the world going to be when that time comes? And I want to consider a couple things with you this evening. And the first one goes something like this: what you speak, you create. What you speak, you create. What's interesting about our words and the words that we use when we're speaking, they emanate from the thoughts that we have. So the words that come out of my mouth are the result of the thoughts that I'm having. So if I want to know what someone is thinking about, I just need to listen to what they say. And if you want to know what you're seriously thinking about, then you just need to listen to the words that you are speaking day in and day out. And the question is, are you speaking the life that you want to see, or are you speaking the life that you dislike? So many people today preface what they say with, it's difficult, or I'm not good at. Or we talk about the weather, or we talk about other superficial things. How much of your time, or rather, how many of the words that you use today reflect the vision of the future that is on your heart? So what we speak, we create. The next point that I want to bring to your attention is that what we write, we complete. So when I say write, I'm talking about the W-O-R-I-T-E, W-R-I-T-E, write. When we take a pen, when we pick up a pencil, when we use our finger in the sand and we write words, what is it that we are describing? What future are we documenting in that moment? In fact, the question that we've got to ask ourselves is, do we have a clearly defined vision board? Do we have a dream wall, perhaps? Do we have the vision of what we are aiming to create clearly established and in front of our eyes every day? You know, I'm thinking right now that the wall across from my desk should be covered with my vision. And it is. There's a large world map sitting there on the wall across from my desk. And those of you who have been part of Map for Life know that I've been called to map the world. So that is the picture. Do you have your vision board where you see it every day? Because what you write, you complete. Now, if you're speaking things into existence, if you speak and you create and you write and you complete, why is it that we don't yet see it? You know, some people might think that we need a checkup from the neck up when we make those kind of statements. But of course, the third step in the process is what we believe and act on is what we manifest. What we believe and act on is what we manifest. I mean, you've got to believe that what you have spoken has already been created. You've got to believe that what you have written has already been completed. And if you believe that with all your heart, then stepping in faith and acting in order to reveal what you have spoken and what you have written is that much easier. In fact, it's like a walk in the park because you are walking up to that which you have already created. So what you speak, you create. What you write, you complete. And what you do based on believing those two things is what you manifest. And the final step in the 4-step process is what you finish starts. When you finish something, it can begin to do what it was meant to do or what it was purposed to do. In everything that you start, you need to get to the finish line so that when you cross the finish line, that which you started can begin to do its work. I believe that my life is about walking up to the start line, not the finish line. When I get to the end of this life, when this body draws its final breath, or exhales its final breath, or lets go that last little tear from the eye, which is what usually happens. When that moment takes place, then that for which I was born should begin to run away with itself. I should have reached the point that what I was sent to start, what I was deployed to begin, can actually begin its work. And that for me is an exciting thing to look forward to. Peter said something this morning: when you've got hope for the future, you have power in the present. I hope I got that right, Peter. And just in case you lost me there for a moment, we are in an exciting time. Peter said that we're on a 7-day challenge, not to complain. So there's nothing that I have to say about the moment that just occurred. And I trust that you are still there hanging in along with me to make sure that you get this message. So if I go and look at those 4 steps from a different perspective, I can say, when I speak, I create, and the words that would precede what I'm creating would sound something like this: let there be ... and you can complete the sentence. So what is going to exist after the words that you speak? This is why the C challenge, the not complaining challenge that Peter issued to us last week, is so important. Because what we speak is what we create. The second statement, which is what we write, we complete, that follows from the words, it is written. And you need to be able to answer with all sincerity: is your vision clearly defined? Is it written down? Do you have a documented plan for your life? Because if you do, you have taken a decisive step in clearly setting out the future. In fact, the future exists in the present. It's in the hearts and minds of the people in this world. That's the future. It exists already. It's just waiting for you to step in faith and reveal it. And then the third part is a wonderful statement. Once you've said let there be and it is written, the next step or the next words to utter are these: so be it. And if you don't know what so be it means, you may have heard the word amen. Amen, brother. It doesn't matter what kind of language you come from, what kind of prayer you give. All over the world, people use that word, amen, which means so be it. That which I have spoken and that which I have written will be manifested. Amen. And then finally, the words, it is finished. Wow, what powerful words to utter. And so tonight, the question to you is, why not? Why not begin to speak the vision that is on your heart? Why not take the time to write it down and clearly define it? Why not take the step of faith and begin to act on what you have seen? Because what you see is already a done deal. You could see it with your mind's eye. You could see it with your heart. That means it already exists. You just got to step out and reveal it. And then why not finish what you start? For goodness sake, stop seeking after a new goal every time you near the finish line. So many times we become distracted by someone else's idea, someone else's plan for our life. And that brings me to this statement, that if you if what you think about is what you speak about, and what you speak and what you write is what you complete, what you speak is what you create, and what you write is what you complete. If that is an important aspect of this process, then the question is, what were you doing today? Because if your actions today were not aligned with what you spoke or what you have written, or in fact, if you have not spoken your vision and you have not written it down, then what you have done this day and what you have finished this day has manifested someone else's speech and someone else's vision for your life. Is it not time that you and I take back the reins? Isn't it time that we begin to lead our life? Isn't it time that we follow the star that was given to us? Isn't it time that we begin to act on that pounding feeling that we have in our heart that says, this is it. This is what you should be pursuing? I think it is. I think this is the time. Your country is waiting for you. Your continent is ready for you. The world is waiting for you to show up and be bold and speak, write, do, and finish that which has been placed on your heart. I have enjoyed sharing this message with me and with you, because I know there is power in these 4 steps. And it's just so wonderful to see those of you who shared comments this evening. And I'm looking forward to tonight's panel. Our panel is coming and going, Peter. So tonight we're going to have an interesting discussion. Colton, Murad, and Primrose will be joining us. And we trust that is going to manifest. So after this short break, Peter's going to come back and he's going to lead the panel discussion. I trust that after this evening, you're going to begin to speak, write, do, and finish. And the question is, why not?
Wasn't that fantastic? I'm really looking forward to discussing this concept or these concepts with the panel. I certainly know on the panel we've got Murad from Cairo, and I know that Murad is making a real difference. Did I say Cairo? And Murad, would you just like to tell everybody what difference you're making in Cairo and how what Glen had to say has impacted your life?
Well, I've been involved in many different things throughout like the last period, but currently what I'm focusing on is creating tools and platform for job creation, for people to create job opportunities, and doing that through speaking, through tools and consulting, and that's what I'm currently busy doing.
Wonderful. Glen spoke about how I said if there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. And when I hear what you're doing in Cairo, I just think that's so apt. Last Saturday, I was with a group of young people here in Johannesburg, and we were sitting in Sandton, which is the business center, almost the business center of South Africa. And as the crow flies, maybe it's 3 km away from the capital where all the money is made. We have one of the poorest areas in almost the whole of Africa, and it's, you know, I see these pictures where you see the shacks of Alexandra and looking across at Santon City. I've been in Nairobi and I've seen a similar center. But we were talking, and we'd done some training with these young kids, and they were talking of their dreams for the future. And it was, you know, I was so inspired to hear these kids of 17, 18 who believe, despite where they're living, that there's hope for them in one of the poorest areas of Africa. And that gives me faith that for where we're going, that there is power. And I just love the way you creating jobs up in Cairo. Now I know that Courtney Carlton is doing something similar, and he's training people down in Cape Town, and I'd like to hear his thoughts on the subject.
Peter, Colton is going to be joining in a moment. He just popped out the studio, and of course Murad has also had the opportunity to pop out from time to time. So don't be alarmed if he suddenly leaves the room. But we have one of those nights. So tonight is a really important evening. So I'm going to excuse myself and allow the two of you to continue. As soon as Colton joins us, I'll bring him straight back in.
Super, thank you, Glenn. Murad, were you here? Did you hear Carlton's story about the 3 wise men and the star?
No.
And he tells this lovely story, and I think there's a lesson in it. And listening to Glenn talking tonight, it just reminded me of what Carlton had to say. And he spoke about the 3 wise men and how they followed their vision. They followed the star. And when they got close to the finish line, they thought they knew better than the star that was guiding them. And they went into the palace to ask for further directions. And they thought that this prince was going to be born in the palace. And they went there and they saw the king. And the king sort of said, no, he didn't know about this new baby. And he sent them on their way. But he then went out, and because he felt threatened by this new king that was coming, and he went ahead and he killed all the babies, or the male babies born in Israel at the time. And it just reminded us that we need to keep our eyes on our vision. We need to focus on the star, and we need to continue to the end, and not fall by the wayside. And how important it is. And that's why I just like the way Glenn spoke about, what we write. How it leads to completion, and putting it down in writing and then doing it and finishing it. Would you like to add to that?
Well, I think maybe it's in this the generation, this new generation, is that we change the way we pursue our vision every now and then. Like it's not one way that we keep on following until we reach the vision, but you find people changing their career 2-3 times throughout the life, maybe even 4 times. They change the job function more recently than maybe from a previous generation. But then again, while reflecting on what you're saying, this doesn't mean that the vision is changing. The vision still is the same vision, but perhaps our approach in achieving the vision may change as we grow, as we accumulate different experiences, as the need changes. So we adapt and still remain in our path of achieving the vision. For example, if empowering people is the vision, this is a little bit broad. In achieving it, you might from time to time uh, pursue a certain way that you find relevant in empowering that kind of people at this moment. And then at a different stage, you still are empowering people as part of your vision, but you are doing something completely different to cater to the needs of the people, and as well based on new learning that you have acquired and so on. I'm saying that because I've seen myself jumping from a different industry, jumping from a different functions, but I'm still having the same heart, the same vision, but I'm just changing the way in achieving it.
Would you like to share with us what your vision is?
Well, it's creating great POC is like for people, organizations, and communities. That was the initial vision, and then I added to it through leaders. So I want to empower people, organizations, and communities through the leaders. And to achieve that, I have made different, put on different hats. One is like being a corporate trainer. Other occasions I was working as like in consulting, working on the organization itself to change its systems, its processes, and so on. So yeah, that's it. That's my vision.
I love that. You know, one of my stated goals is to help people in retirement and move from reactive retirement to proactive retirement. A case of becoming proactive and not just wasting the rest of their lives. So I spend time in that space. But last weekend, and I was, when I say I was pulled out of my comfort zone, where I was now involved with the 17, 18 year olds, and listening to them. They'd been asked to paint a vision for the future, and they'd actually put a panel together of experienced people, and it was a little bit like the Dragon's Den. And they did their presentations, and we judged their presentations, and it was so wonderful to see, and to see that these youngsters really were caring for the community, and were looking for ways of solving problems in the community. And it just, as I said earlier, it gave me faith, looking forward, and saying things are going to happen. But I quite like the way you spoke about from time to time we need to adjust, and how I'd moved from one end of the spectrum really to the other. These were sort of younger than my grandchildren almost, and so on. Yes. I just saw.
Good to know.
I think I spoke about Carlton and the Star, and then Guadi from East London spoke about keeping our eye on the ball, and which is very apt when we started off talking about soccer. There it's coming up again, keeping the eye on the ball, and that's what the soccer World Cup is. And I think how important it is to keep our eye on the ball. I see Elvis coming through. The ultimate goal remains the same, but the way to get there may change. And Murad, that was exactly what you were saying, was it not?
Yeah,
so Elvis,
that's
thank
correct.
you for that comment. Would you like to just enlarge on that a little bit?
Yes, okay.
Would you?
Is Elvis writing on the chat, or
Sorry. No,
is
I was
Elvis
just going to say,
writing
would
on the
you
chat?
like to just enlarge a little bit on scoring the goal and how important
Yeah,
that is, and how
yeah,
how you've changed and what you're doing.
yeah. Actually, it requires a lot of self-reflection and really understanding the current situation. Because, for instance, if I say I want to help the organization become a good place to work at, and a place that you look forward to wake up in the morning every day and go there, and the company itself is providing something that is really making life better to the outside people. uh, to achieve that, it has got, I don't know, maybe countless number of ways of how to achieve it. uh, and then to actually decide which route is best, you have to really have self-awareness, self-understanding, able to get a good picture of reality. What is the current need of the people going at the organization? What is the current need of the organization, of the community? um, Understanding, making decisions based on the resources that you have in terms of time, in terms of cost, in terms of people capacity, and as well, it's at the end, it also would be not what you want to do or what they want to do, but what you can or cannot do. That would be the final thing. uh, the main thing is keeping the main thing the main thing, uh,
Lovely
having the goal,
that, yes.
and yeah, and then deciding which way is better. And it's not only one way, there is always many ways.
Wonderful. Thank you. Carlton, I don't know to what extent you've been listening to the discussion, but I loved Murad's comment about keeping the main thing the main thing. Would you like to just expand on that, Carlton?
Well, I unfortunately just missed everything that was said prior to this now. But keeping the main thing is something that we obviously learned when we did project management. It is so important to just, accept that whatever your task is at this moment in time, it becomes a priority. So the main thing becomes the main thing at that moment in time. Nothing else is supposed to interfere with it. And I think this is one of the biggest problems. That's why the illustration you gave with the three wise men, that is a definite acknowledgement of how not keeping the main thing can not only lead you astray, but also leave behind quite a terrible load of destruction.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things. I remember when we used to work at Cecil, while they were busy with the construction of Cecil, so many of the things went wrong because they weren't willing to spend a fraction of the budget in the preparing and the planning, and then dedicating what is supposed to be the main thing. So everybody just went crazy, and in the end it costed them quite a fortune to try and repair and to redo things that wasn't properly planned. So the main thing was definitely not the main thing in many of those instances.
I think we see a lot of that. I was going to say in South Africa today, but we see a lot of that around the world today, and where things have got out of kilter and focusing on the wrong thing, and often it is as a result of other issues coming into it, but it's losing sight of the main thing. And I just loved your story about and I think I'm going to change it from the three wise men to the three foolish men, and following this star. And it really had an impact in my life. What you said a couple of weeks ago, just on that story, and I've loved repeating it and so on. Carlton, we were talking soccer terms, and we spoke about keeping an eye on the ball and scoring the goal. Would you like to share some of your wisdom with us on the soccer field?
Well, I wish more people could sort of focus on the thing that I really enjoyed focusing, and that was focusing on the ball. And it unfortunately caused that people used to sometimes just not want me to be around when their favorite teams were playing, because I did not give a hoot who was playing at that moment in time. Whoever scored a fantastic goal was to me the person that just got the best accolade from me. And many times when guys used to tell me, but how is it possible that you can't sort of just admire and support and back a team? I says, man, I just love the type of techniques these guys are doing. You know, the different ways of dribbling and the different type of tricks of the trade that pops up. I says, that is the thing that impresses me tremendously. And therefore, I can be so excited by a game when I see either side going on the verge of scoring a goal, or alternatively, even a rugby game. You know, when these guys are going there and they're going crazy and this guy managed to get through, etc. Oh boy, I cheer for them. I don't give a hoot which team it is. I just admire the way this guy has got his eye on the ball and he is getting to where he intends getting to. That to me is amazing.
Yes. I was very privileged today. I went to a sporting breakfast, and I was at breakfast with Joel Stransky. And for overseas visitors, Joel Stransky was the man who put over that drop kick in the 1995 World Cup, and South Africa won the game. 15-12, I think it was. It was by that kick, and it was a case of keeping the main thing. But I was listening to the coaches talking about the preparation, and they spoke of how important pre-match preparation was, and how you need to look and to study the opposition. And you can't go into a World Cup without studying the opposition. You can't go in without having a game plan for every game. And I think that too often we go into situations where we haven't properly assessed the situation. We haven't worked it out. We haven't written down our game plan and set out what the main thing is. Rod, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. What I like then about Mapful Life, that it carefully takes you into a place where you spend plenty or good time, enough time to craft the future that you want to reach. But also, it takes you backward of how to go from where you are to reach this vision. So it actually, Mapful Life has got a balanced approach in helping you to know and craft where you want to go, and is this the right place? This is the destination that I want to be heading. Maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. This is my lifetime vision. But also, you spend plenty and good time to plan and prepare yourself, stepping out the way of how to reach this destination. And then also it helps you implement the plan. And if you just have a vision without proper preparation, then it remains just like a dream. But to have it realized, you have to have plenty good preparation and finding the right, most appropriate way to go there.
And the question of writing it down, would you like to just enlarge on the writing down?
No.
Well, I was going to, Murad, we're just writing the plan down. How important is writing it down?
Well, it's as Mapful Life says, what's not on paper is vapor. I remember reading this a decade ago, but it's still it's on my mind. As as at the moment when the thought is very clear in your mind and you think that this clarity would be forever, and then the next day you are actually, this idea is not like the clarity that you had at that moment yesterday is not as clear as after some time passed, because your mind is then maybe has been interrupted with different situation and so on. But if you write it on paper, like I go and look at my journal 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and wow, I mean, just like seeing, if I wasn't writing all of that in the paper, I wouldn't really kind of realize that this was the same person I am 10 years later on. So actually, yeah, don't really rely on your memory, because your memory is not as you think it's strong. It may fail you sometimes. So writing it down is important so that you keep focused and not distracted.
Yes, yes. Carlton, would you like to enlarge on that?
Yes, no, because that writing down becomes very important, so you can have a systematic approach to wherever you intend going and doing. Talking project management again, it was so critical to be able to jot down. As a thought came into your mind, you would jot it down. And later on, when you scrutinize or edit, or whatever term you would like to use, then you would sort of put into different places to be able to get a systematic approach towards what the end result is going to be. One of the things that I find is very, very important that, to a large degree, I think is overlooked, especially when you are coaching somebody or mentoring somebody, etc. as well. It's very important to be able to also know the team that's going to be around you. Very, very important. It is very, very harsh a reality for somebody that is towing the line, indirectly speaking, by following a systematic approach, everything. And then there's an onslaught of, unfortunately, all the others in the form of people or obstacles or trials and tribulations that's in the way. And lots of people find themselves discouraged on a very effective program, something that will definitely get them where they need to be. And then these kind of obstacles that comes their way finds them to be discouraged. And that is why when I have the opportunity or the privilege to be with somebody via coaching, mentoring, etc., I also, to a degree, inquire by getting them to write it down. Who else or what else do you feel can be possible obstacles or possible interventions or possible inputs that needs to be taken into consideration in order for you to be able to have a very nice, smooth ride to where you intend getting. And guys, you won't believe, as these guys are writing these down, how you find already some of them saying, gee, am I really going to get where I want to be by just this possible obstacle or by that person's intervention, etc., etc. So on your question of writing down, critical. I think it's the best type of systematic approach to get to wherever you need to get to.
Wonderful, thank you. Just talking about the team, what are your comments on the team? I was looking at something in the last few days about the people around us. And I think it was Jim Rohn spoke about so much is related about the 5 people that you spend the most time with and the impact that they have on our lives. And I believe that it is something that we should be auditing on a regular basis, and that we should be assessing the value of the people we associate with, and maybe we need to do some weeding in that particular garden.
That's right.
And get rid of some of those energy grabbers and energy vampires folks talk about. those weeds and get rid of them. Just as we need to be looking at our habits, how we need to be looking at our beliefs. And I've been talking to some people about beliefs, and I'm not even sure that we all know exactly what we believe in, and we need to spend a bit of time thinking about our belief system. And, we need to do some work there. And again, I come back to writing it down and working from that point. Murad, would you like to just add something?
Yeah, sure. Actually, like the people you have in life is one of the main or one of the most important blessings that a person can have. It's until you realize that the quality of the relationships that you have in life is actually the main direct relator of how happy you are, the quality of your life compared to having certain possessions. So the emphasis that I think it was underestimated the importance of having quality relationships in our life, and how this is related to the quality happiness, but also to our topic of today, that is being able to reach what and to fulfill your life mission and purpose. For me, I have experienced this. Being around the right people sharpens myself, makes me operate at a certain level, encourages me, and at the same time, if you are around not the really right fit, this can drag you down, take also the quality of life into a different place. And yeah, I mean, this I hope I can have an answer like 1, 2, 3 steps of how to build this community around. There is definitely, you have to try, but also it's a good blessing to hope for and pray for, to be planted in the right place with the right people.
Yeah, wonderful. Murad, as we close, and I'm thinking of the title of the topic, and the topic was "Why Not?" Do you have a challenge for the listeners out there on why not? Would you like to issue a challenge? Why not? Why not something?
Yeah, why not to excel? Why not? Why not to excel? I just want to keep it that simple, and think about it, because sometimes people they don't, like, when you're referring to beliefs, you don't know that you believe that if I succeeded, this is actually a scary place. So that doesn't encourage me to take a step. So just think about why not to excel is a challenge for you.
Murad, thank you. I'm sorry we've lost Carlton. I was hoping he could add his words of wisdom, but I think you've left us with a wonderful challenge, and I think that's the opening for next week. We'll ask the people to report back and tell us why not and what have they excelled in. So Murad, thank you. Carlton, thank you. And to everybody out there, thank you for being with us tonight. And we look forward to meeting again next week. Good night.